Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on which time of day you are viewing this. I hope that you are well. I hope that you are safe and that you are getting ready to relax for the night. I have been very busy and have not been making videos, so this will be the first in a very, very long time. But it seems the appropriate time to get back into it. I have time now, and I have some thoughts that I would like to share, specifically regarding what it's like right now for people working in retail or customer service roles. And I feel for you. If you are one of these people, just know that I'm right there with you. It's difficult for everyone right now going through this COVID-19 pandemic, and tensions are high. People are tired. People are starting to have the novelty wear off for them. I think that at the beginning there was a lot of fear and a lot of excitement, not in a good way, but just that there was excitation. People were very high energy, trying to get their lives back together. Some people might still be in that mode, but from what I've seen, I work in retail. I work at a plant nursery. From what I've seen, people are tired of the inconvenience. When I say people throughout this video, know that I mean customers, and that's the interface that I'm having with the world right now, is the customers that walk through our doors. But what I'm seeing is a resurgence of impatience, that things are not back to normal yet, and I personally feel pressure from them, unwarranted pressure from customers to have to make things better for them, and that's not our responsibility. We are also people. We have lives. We have priorities, and the fact that some of us are able to work right now, or have been able to work. I know a lot of things are opening up, but some of us were not quarantining the same way as others. Some businesses stayed open, and that forces a lot of employees to make the decision, do I quarantine or do I stay on because I need to get paid so I can pay the rent and bills? And if your business doesn't close, you can't get unemployment insurance. So I was in that boat, that my business stayed open in certain ways. We're open to the public now, but we did have our doors closed for a while. But the message that I want to send out is to those that are feeling like they have to take on the burden of absorbing the impatience and negativity of people that might walk through their doors or might be talking to them on the phone. If you're in a more remote customer service role, people that might be doing more phone interactions with customers or clients or patrons. It's rough right now, but what I want you to know is that when these customers, when these people are sending their negativity towards you, when they are acting out, when they are impatient, when they are blaming us for things out of our control, it's not about you. It's entirely not about you. It has nothing to do with how you've treated them. More often than not, you've probably treated them with respect from the get-go and patience. And sometimes they don't respond in kind. And when they don't, it's not about you. They don't know how to manage their feelings, and they're feeling trapped, inconvenienced. They're feeling like they want to be able to do the normal things that they do, and we're a part of that, being in customer service or working in retail, and they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know what we have been doing to make things easier for them to access our services. They're, for the most part, oblivious to it. And that's not to say that they're in any way in the right. We all need to have patience for each other, and I am struggling with that. I am falling into that trap of forgetting that it's not about me. I've been falling into that trap of thinking that they should automatically treat me with respect. That's poor wording. That's not the trap I'm falling into. They should treat me with respect. They should treat you with respect, always. But the trap is thinking that they know better. It sounds horrible. I don't know. It's rough out there right now, guys. Especially with political tensions high, and that's definitely mixing and commingling with everything else. The wildfires in the West, the fact that we're still in this pandemic, and people are tired and looking for someone to blame, and often it just comes out at whoever's around, and often that's us retail workers and customer service workers. But that's not our burden. That's not something that we need to carry for them. That's something that they foist on us unfairly, but we don't need to keep it. We can let it go. That's been my meditation lately. I have not always been exactly meeting that expectation of myself. I find it very tempting to be passive-aggressive or to find ways to not so obviously tell them exactly how I feel about how they're treating me and my coworkers. And it never makes me feel better about the interaction. It never makes me feel better coming out of it, knowing that I was rude back to them. It also doesn't really make me feel better to be nice to them when they're being rude to me, but what I'm working on right now is kind of heading them off at the pass and trying to be nice to them before they can even get a word out, greeting them, having some type of a kind tone and seeming enthusiastic even when I just am so tired, which can be hard, but I've noticed that when I'm nice from the get-go, they don't have an opportunity as much to be rude to me. When I don't give them an opening, when I try to anticipate them. And that's also exhausting because it means that I have to do some kind of mental, I don't know, precognition. No, I have to do some mind reading and figure out if they're the type of person that wants to be greeted, or if they're the type of person that wants to be left alone because they're on a mission and they know what they're looking for. But more often than not, people in my line of work and in the area that I work, they want their hand held, and I get it. Someone's coming into a nursery and they might be new gardeners. A lot of people have been taking up gardening during this pandemic, and that's awesome, and I want to encourage that. And I love that, especially families have been trying to find ways to keep their kids busy during the summer and keep them interested in the outdoors and have some type of bonding experience together while also growing their own food or growing their own perennials and flowers, and maybe doing some landscape projects they haven't had time for before. And that's all fantastic, and I am here for it, and I want to encourage that. But sometimes what happens when you have a lot of new gardeners coming in is that they might not know what they're doing, and they might not know what they're looking for yet. They know they want to get started, but they don't know what the first step for them should be. And those are some of my favorite types of customers, because I get a chance to help them out, and I get a chance to help bring their vision to fruition. But it's the die-hard, tried and true customers that I'm having issues with, not the new ones. It's the ones that are used to a certain level of service that we had previously been able to provide, and now we can't. We lost a couple of really great customer service representatives that had a wealth of experience, each of them, and a wealth of knowledge about plants, and they were our go-to people when it comes to the tougher questions about plant care or pest maintenance, things like that. And so people are die-hard tried and trues. They're upset because their favorite gardeners aren't there anymore to help them out, and they're impatient with our apparent inability to keep up with their needs. And again, it's not about us. They're thinking that, oh, this is how it's always been. Why can't you do this thing that you've been doing for years? Why is this so difficult for you to do right now? And every time we get a question like that, or paraphrase that concept in other ways, we have to explain to everyone exactly how we're being affected, and that this is a weird year, and that their expectations are going to have to be different because we don't have the staff, we don't have the resources, the plants aren't coming in the same volume or the same variety as they have been, and now on top of that you throw in wildfires in the area, and yeah, we're falling short. But I try to look at the bright side, and I often fail. I often get stuck thinking about what I could have said to really make them feel bad about what they said to me. I think about conversations over and over again in my head, and I think about wishing that people were just better, wishing that they could automatically be sympathetic or empathetic towards us, and just think for a minute about how it's not the most important thing if we don't have their favorite shrub in stock. It's not important. It's not a priority. There's other things going on in the world. We were allowed to stay open because we sell vegetable starts and herbs and seeds and pest management supplies and things that will keep your crops alive. And we fall under the agriculture category in that regard. But it's gotten to that point where people are done with the vegetable rush and they just want their summer gardens. They want them to look nice. And I'm doing my best not to just scream at them, your pansies are unimportant. You don't need these. You don't need to impress your neighbors right now. This is not the priority. Your health is the priority. Put your mask on. It's been rough. So if any of you are feeling similar things out there, just know that you're not alone. I'm feeling it too. We're all feeling it. And the service industry is getting the brunt of a lot of the negativity going around right now. But we just have to wait it out and hope that for every horrible customer or client we get, that there's going to be 10 or 20 fantastic ones that are going to thank us for being open, that are going to thank us for being there, and that will appreciate our help and tell us that. And that's been the case for me, that I pay more attention to the negative ones, unfortunately. And I don't like that. I want to have my takeaway at the end of the day be, what was the best customer? What was the best interaction that I had? What was the funniest thing I heard someone say? Or what made me feel good about myself in helping someone else? Those are the questions that I want to ponder at the end of the day. I don't want to think about the people that were disappointed in us for not being as good as we used to be. I want to think about the ones that were just happy to be a part of it and happy to be able to get outside somewhere and enjoy even a small sense of wildlife walking around the nursery. So if you can find those takeaways in your life, in your work, or even if you're not working right now, if you are in between things or hunkering down until this blows over, that can be applied to you as well. That there are going to be things in your day that are more difficult to deal with, more frustrating, and that's reality. That's something that I don't want to downplay at all. But what makes me feel hopeful at the end of the day is remembering the good parts. Not, remembering them over the bad parts that need to be considered, because they do, but just adding in something that isn't so dismal. Just to balance that perspective, because it can be really tough sinking into the negativity that we're all feeling. So I hope you're all staying afloat. I hope that you're all very safe and that you have love and support in your life. And if you feel like you don't, just know that you are not alone. There are people out there like you feeling very similar things to what you're feeling right now. And we can get through it. So good night. This may not have been relaxing, but I hope at least it made you feel a little bit less alone. So if you have anything to share, please don't hesitate to